Alright, how y'all doing tonight? I'm just giving this another shot. The other night we did a quick and easy one. Tonight I'm actually set up here. I'm going to go ahead and tie a few fly call blank butts to start off. Somebody asked a question on the site about tying some stuff with some quill bodies. So I'm going to tie a few of these up. It's a good pattern I'm actually working on for a future actual video that we'll have up in the near future here. But this is just kind of a test run getting used to tying the pattern. I thought you guys might want to tune in and see it. Learn a little something. Won't take any questions, so feel free to type away and I will try to get to you. So this fly is a little quill body, simple materials, simple everything. Just gonna grab my beads. I like to go ahead and use unfinished on this fly. Kind of what I always used. This fly's kind of one of them flies that really got to what it was doing back in the day when we had some rough starts on some comps, and Dejan and I had, hey dude, shoot this fly, I have confidence in it. It broke my blank. Just go ahead and fish it if things get tough in your session. Got one for him. We're like, well, we got a name for it, so we call it the Blank Buster. So that's what the fly that we're gonna have tonight. So I'm going to tie these up. Hopefully I'll have some questions and answers here. And I'll go through the materials and everything as we're going along. First thing I have here is TroutLegend. I don't know if I can get this to zoom in. TroutLegend. Jig hook, size 16 is the hook. 2.5 bead is what we have on this fly. I'll switch out my thread. This is pretty casual, guys. I'm just kind of getting started. I'm using UTC 70 olive for this fly. Quill body, so it's pretty simple. Hey Seth, welcome aboard, bud. I think you're the only one sticking around. So we're going to get this up and running, and just like you know, I got this. So hopefully you guys can see. I'll adjust this a little bit, so you won't see as much as me, but you're going to see the fly, so you'll be able to see what's going on. So I'm tying this with a quill body. So starting the thread, and we'll go from there. I like to start right behind the bead. Just kind of cinch that bead a little bit up there, and I have this on the jig hook, and it is a slotted, unfinished tungsten bead, size 16. So, tail, Coq de Leon, in dark. Dark. Double check the package here. Some feather porn if you got, yeah, dark part oak. So we got that taken care of. Yeah, you've seen this fly, Seth. I've tied. You probably got a few in your box. I think I tied this at one of our Trout Unlimited events. So when you're taking that tail, click it on there. You want the size of the shank. Set that on there. Pinch it on top. Pinch wrap. Get that cinched on there. And I like to actually, I'll push it up to get that. See how I just pulled that up, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but I got them so they're kind of sticking up a little bit. I just prefer that look. By the time you get the fly in the water, it all changes. So I'm going to trim that off. I did tie that up the whole shank because I want to keep this body as uniform as I possibly can throughout the fly. And this is some wire I picked up years ago. I don't remember exactly where I got it. I'm still trying to track down a nice source for this stuff and see if we can get it in the TL store with the guys. But real extra thin wire, real tough. But the nice thing is easy to work with. You don't really usually need to deal with any scissors with it, but has a nice look to it. Again, this is a quill body, but I do an actual kind of, to get a double rib effect, I do a rib on it. So tie that in. I try to tie that underneath and slightly on the side. And, all right, so there's that. Got that wire out of the way in my clip. Get that nice and smooth. Now, the next part of this fly, I have Polish quills here. We have some strip quills from Troutline that are sold in the TL store that are actually better quality than this from what I see, but the color I wanted, I didn't have any in those. But so check it out in the store, and you can go from there. I'm going to find one, and when you look at this, and it's hard for you guys to see, but there's a dark side and a light side. You want to pay attention to that. You want the dark side when you wrap. to go towards the back. So what I do when I do this, it works for me. I've seen it done other ways. It's a brittle material. You can see you don't got much of it. Only got about 1.5 inches, so it's a little tricky. So with your threads back at the back end there, I'm going to go ahead and tie this in at an angle like so. At the back, with the black is on the bottom. Tie that up uniform. You want to make sure you get your thread as uniform as you're looking up through that body. Go ahead and take that fly, that quill. And this is a little tricky. This fly is not exactly the easiest. I don't actually like to use hackle pliers, but I should probably get used to it. And when I grab it, I pinch it against the hook shank, because I really, in particular, and I want to see where that's going. So I'm really just putting one in a little bit over top that last one, and it'll kind of leave a little bit of a black. And I'm running into some issues here with this quill, but we'll take care of that later. I'm going to double over at this point. Yeah, I got a bad quill here, guys. It's awesome. Gotta love it. First live feed, I end up taking bad material out of the box. So, I'm going to pull that off. Start over. What's up? Hey, we have TroutLegend himself watching. This fly is suggested by him, so tying the blank bus, or at least trying to. I need to get some new materials. Somebody hook me up with that. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, we do have, it looks like we got Dejan logged in here. He's checking this out too, so if anybody's got any questions, concerns, or things you want to see in the store, shout them out on here and we'll get something out to you. Yeah, I take that, tie that to the bottom. I know Walter just joined. This is one fly, and types of flies I know he's big on with these Polish quills. Okay. Now, again, back to the beginning. And they want that. So one in front of the other. When I'm starting this out, I'm not too worried, except for the fact that one in front of the other. And this isn't exactly how I was hoping it would turn out. Everything's backwards here, but it's still going to give the slight effect. I'm going to be tying a few of these. So, one in front of the other. You see that nice segmented look starts to develop on that fly. When I get near the front third of that, I'm going to go ahead and tie that off. And I got that there. Now, a lot of times nowadays you hear guys use UV or some Sally Hansen's or even head cement to make it stronger. What I started doing a while ago, when I didn't have that at a comp and I ended up making this fly, is I try to take my ribbing and actually run it in the middle, and then this one's not exactly perfect, but I try to run it in the middle of those quills and accent that rib right like that. So there's that. Got the wire out of the way, tangled around, but whatever. Alright, so I'll break that off. A few more wraps to secure that. Now the next step that I really like to do here is I just simply take a little bit of super glue and just dab that on the outside. I know you don't really see that too often, but it doesn't change much on this fly. It soaks in through and really gives this fly almost makes it indestructible. Okay. Next thing I'm putting on this one. Hey man, what's up, Bald? Using the Squirrel SLF dubbing. This is probably one of my favorite dubbing, especially on a lot of these Euro flies, because you're tying them in a round. So, and this really has a nice spikiness to it. We're also going to use some Loon low tack swags, so basically Loon low tack stuff there, and go from that. I'm going to take a dark olive. Sometimes I'll use a black, but on here I just pick out some dark olive on this. And one of the tricks, we're going to do a touch dub method. One of the tricks you really want to do on this, when you're doing this is I like to cut this into finer size. We're only looking at size 16 hooks, so I don't need long fibers. I just wanted to have it in there and have them guard hairs, have them nice and spiky. So just going to set that off the side for a second while I do this next step. So waxing the thread. You don't need a whole lot with this, so then you take it and just dab against that wax thread, and you'll see you get the dubbing kind of stuck on there a little bit. And that's more than enough of what we need, so I'm actually going to modify that a little bit. The next stage, I'm going to take my bobbin, spin it. I'm sorry you guys can't see this, just kind of testing this setup here tonight. So pull that up, let that spin up in. So you do that a few times, get that to spin. And this ain't working, so I'm going to go with the old school way. And just spin and watch, play back. Anybody got any questions or anything? How have everybody been doing? Anyway, we get out in this nicer weather we've had the last few weeks fishing. Alright, so now I got my dubbing. I'm going to go ahead. It's tighter now that I've spun that and got that thread to bite it. And just make that nice little head on there. It's nice and buggy. It's a nice little buggy pattern. So once I got that, I'm going to do a half hitch to secure that. And just tie that right down. So we got that there. One whip finish. And I'd go ahead and I'll line them up, and then at the end I'll end up putting a little drop on them. So if you're looking at this fly, I don't know if we can get it to zoom in better, but it's just a little all bug quill body. I got the rib with copper. So I'll go through another one again before we go ahead and fly into something else. So who all do we got here? Any shout outs? I see we got 7 guys. Feel free to ask any questions or let us know where you're from. Anything you want to see. After this fly, I'm pretty much open if you guys have any suggestions, and I can pretty much figure out just about anything here I have to tie. Just won't be a 30-second mop. Again, got that unfinished bead on there. Let's see if I can get this to zoom. Yeah, this doesn't like zooming on that. Apologize to you guys. I'm bouncing around a little bit here. See if I can make it, you can see that a little bit better. Alright. There, maybe that's, I got it centered anyway. So, yeah. Alright, build that thread body, tail, Pac de Leon. I have to get 4 or 5 fibers. Even them up when I pull them back. Line that up about the length of the body. Yeah, I know. I'm just trying to test this here. I was just messing with it. I hate to mess with it too much. Trying to figure out where the right spot is to set the camera. Let's see if I can get it again. See the fly. Yeah, for some reason, whenever I use this front live cam, it wants to bounce right to my face. And this is a smaller fly, and it's really not hitting it real well. So I guess if I back up a little bit, is it kind of seeing it? But there's not much I can really do about that. Smaller fly, it's not really going on. Like I said, this is just kind of, feel free to ask any kind of questions, anything you guys want to see. I'm really looking to just try to draw some information on content for future videos we're looking to get up on the YouTube channel. And I'm not even sure if this one's going to end up going live after it. Okay, so got that wire tied in for that rib. Next, hopefully I find a quill that's not brittle. Okay, so next material is Polish quills. Tie that on. Like I said, I try to angle that up is my trick that I've done. Tie that on there like that. Build up a nice even thread base on that fly. Oh, now we're going to wrap that quill. And at the back, a little tip on this, if you guys are wrapping this up in the back, I use the all thread. Don't feel bad if you leave slight gaps coming up. But once this fly's done, I'm going to try to see if I can fix the live feed some. So there we go. This one's looking much better than the last one. Got my quill to work out. Didn't have to. Alright, tie that up. Nice thing is this has got a few materials in it, but it's not a super hard tie. You guys can kind of see. Yeah, it's not really wanting to. Not really want to cooperate much. So then I take out, like I said before in that first time, I like to try to get this actually in between the segments in the middle of the quill. So there's the rib. Get that on there. I can do soft tackle hairs here if we want to pull something up like that. I can even make a little bit of a comp style for you. What are you looking at? You looking for something more like the traditional soft tackle, or are you looking for something I can juice it up and make it a little more modern day? I've got some stuff like that, if anybody's interested. Oh, and the wife's here. I better behave. Hi, honey. Again, taking that smooth wax. All right, man. All right, okay. I'll go ahead and go with that more of a comp style deal on it, and make it a little more new age. Touch dub. Again, I'm using the SLF Squirrel in dark olive. Taking that. I'm gonna do the quick and dirty. I've got that thread there now. I'm just gonna spin it. Really not the best way, but it does work. When you're doing demos, guys think this is all mystical and cool, but the other way is more effective at making a better rush dub. So there's that dubbing. I'm gonna run that for the thorax, tie that. This flies, again, like I said before, it's tied in the round. So half hitch. But push it through. So there's that. Let me see if I can get it to zoom in. Yeah, it looks like it wants to be next to my face before it gets zoomed in. You guys can kind of see that there. It's a nice, small, thin little profile. If you're looking like a Baetis, this is a great Baetis imitation. Really works well especially some of the spring cricks in Pennsylvania. This is deadly on spring crick. Works real well on the little J, and it earned its name on Penn's Crick for being the blank buster. Fair enough, to kind of save Dejan and kind of got him qualifying on to nationals with it. All right, we had somebody ask for the Hares Ear. Normally I usually have Hares Ear on the bench. I got the copper wire. This is funny. I got materials lying all around. I know, honey. I need to clean it up. Let's see what we got. You know what? I'm going to go even a little bit different than that. Bear with me here. I'm going to disappear for a second and grab something off of... Let's see if I got it sitting down. Alright, this is kind of going to be a soft tackle Hares Ear, but it's actually a fly that I use that's even more in the realm of the comp stuff. We're going to actually use CDC for the collar on this bad boy. So, yeah, it's a good fly. Gray CDC. I usually use natural, but I got the gray here now. It works pretty well on this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie this in the size 16 jig hook, which is a good size for this as well. I tie this particular fly when I'm using it in anywhere from 16 up to about size 8. Man, I'm jealous. I wish I was heading down that way. I haven't been down that way and fished the actual little J in a while. Always a fun winter fishery. Alright, this one's also going to have a copper bead on this one. Alright. Use a little bigger bead on this, slightly oversizing it for the size of this fly. So I'm going to use a 3.0 copper bead, 3.0 or 3 millimeter copper bead. Stick with the olive thread, but I'll use olive black, gray. Doesn't really matter too much. Again, I apologize that I can't quite get this zoomed in. I'm still... That looks maybe a little bit better. Starting to thread again. Put up a nice thread base, keep that bead snug up near the front. And you can see that's definitely an oversized bead on that fly. So take that thread to the back. I'm going to go ahead and put a pheasant tail on this fly. I'll use pheasant tail. Sometimes if I got my Hares mask handy, I'll use Hares Ear on it. It's a short tail. I like to have a shorter tail on this, so it's actually a little less than the length of the body. That's probably about the length of the body, but it's shorter than I end up having on some of these other flies. Okay, next thing we're going to do, take the copper wire, again, which I have some still left here from the last couple flies. Take that, tie in that wire. And this is nothing special on this. I'm just going to go ahead and do a normal dubbing noodle on this fly. Again, this is jig hook. This particular fly does work pretty well in the bigger sizes early in the year here, especially size 14. 12, 14 works well for Hendricksons, Quill Gordons, that kind of stuff. But it's really just a general nymph pattern. But that CDC kind of gives it a little pop, gives it a little movement, gives it, I think, almost the appearance of maybe a fly that's starting to merge. Just take that once you get that dubbing. And I'm not worried about being buggy. I kind of want it to be, just bring that up the body of that fly. All right, leave a little gap there. That's where you're gonna put the CDC. All right, go ahead and bring your ribbing up over the hair here, nice even wraps. And now I do have the rotary feature, which I can use, but I kind of got slightly out of commission with the way I got this set up right now. Just that wire, tie that off. Go ahead and do a few more thread wraps, get that secure, because I want a nice even base for this next step. I'm taking the actual CDC feather. So I am fairly picky. This isn't my favorite CDC I have here, but I looked through this one. This is some rump CDC. It's not the best out there, but I've actually got fairly lucky with this decent batch of it. Alright, now the next thing you're going to do when you got your CDC feather, I want to pull the main fibers back, and I'm just going to tie in that tip. That's the section where I'm going to actually tie it into the fly. I'm going to use that, and that gives me the stronger stem to wrap this around a couple times, just like you do on your traditional wet flies. Okay, hackle pliers. Take your hackle pliers right here. If you guys haven't seen them, this is the TroutLegend hackle pliers. Pretty cool little pliers there. Check them out in the store. Really, really affordable. I've had real nice luck with them, knock on wood. Nice, sturdy. And now I am going to use the rotary feature on this. So, see if I can get the rotary feature back in, because it's really helpful on this fly. So it helps. I didn't put a half hitch in there, but it does help do that. So, now, you got that hackle. 3. Boom. And you can't see it quite yet, but it gives a really nice buggy look at, and it's tons of motion on that fly. So it's got that nice CDC collar down on that. Oops, sorry. Bump. Couple. Let's see. Cut off that stem. All right, now you can see that. Get that nice bugginess. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there it is. Now this is kind of, basically you get a soft hackle out of it. And what I just finally noticed on here, if I can get my fly over here, it's going to zoom in. So if I can get it in this range right in here, we're going to be much better. So I'm going to move things after this, guys, and see if we can get a little better view. And this is one of the flies. Looks decent now, but really when it really looks good is when it's in the water. And you can kind of see that fly right there. It's a pretty sweet little bug. I mean, not much to it, simple. So you can also add a little more sparkle to it. Sometimes I'll add a different rib, but that's a good little fly. Sorry guys, we're going to go a little moves. It's going to be a little shaky. I'm going to see if I can get this to where something's going to zoom in. Just going to grab a fly and see here. Is that looking any better? This one I think's good. Maybe if I top this one off. How's that? That's a little better. I got a little less light for me, but if it looks better for you guys, it looks a little better to me. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pop the flies in that we did. Here's the last one, which is, yeah, that looks a little better. We got the soft hackle, hare's ear type deal, real buggy. When this goes through the water, it really pulsates. The best time for these flies, when you have a hatch coming on, near the end of the cast, you stop and do like a lift, like the nice lift. And when that fly comes up, you get a lot of times a real hard strike right on the end there. Okay, and then our other one that we tied earlier is, that guy's just not wanting to really zoom in well. I'm looking clear, I guess. But anyway, we have that fly there. There's that. That's our 2 flies for the day, guys. Just put it out there. You guys have any questions, comments you want to do? We're hoping we can figure these out and get them working a little better, but this is just kind of getting started. So there we have it. There's a couple flies for the night. All right, man. Later.